I trained consistently for 4 years, not on and off, 4 years of showing up, lifting, doing everything that I thought I was supposed to do. But at the end of those 4 years, I did not look like I trained. I was definitely bigger. I had built muscle, but I didn't look lean. I didn't look athletic like I wanted to. I just looked like someone who ate a lot of food and went to the gym. And the thing is, I wasn't being inconsistent. I wasn't missing sessions or cutting corners. I was doing everything that these fitness influencers I followed at the time told me to do. So bulk to build muscle, cut to lose fat, and then I just thought I'd rinse and repeat until I got the body that I wanted. That was the system. It's the system we all know, and I followed it. And it did produce a result. It wasn't the result I wanted, right? I didn't want to be bigger. I wanted to look athletic, like I lifted, lean and defined. Kind of physique where you look at someone and you just know that they look after themselves. And what I now know is that the bulk and cut cycle is never going to get you there. Not because it doesn't work, it does. It's just not built for that type of body, right? That took me years to figure out. So this is the video that I wish someone had made me in the beginning. Why did this happen to me, and why is this happening to so many other guys right now? Well, it's quite simple. Every single corner of the internet is full of these influencers, and this has been the case for really quite a long time now, where you have these bodybuilders and these huge juiced up guys who often take substances and either lie about it or don't, but they look insane. And what happens is that because they are completely devoted to the gym, bodybuilding and winning competitions, which is what bodybuilding is, they then start to dominate the internet because they look insane. Fair play to them, it's not easy. But then what happens is that because the algorithms on Instagram, on TikTok, even on YouTube, even on Google, reward those people because they get the most attention, because they're the most extreme cases of physiques, they start to be all that you see. And when they become all that you see, what happens is you start to follow their advice. You're not seeing any other type of advice. So bulking and cutting is actually a bodybuilding practice. But what's happened is that it's seeped its way into the culture of just any guy ever who wants to go to the gym to feel confident with his shirt off. So what that means is that you start trying to bulk and cut because everyone around you, or at least online, is telling you to. Maybe your friends are, maybe people you know are. And you start doing it even though it's not going to lead you to the physique that you actually want. Not that you know that, but you find that out, like me, at a certain point, right? It doesn't line up with what you actually want out of this. And so it's not your effort that's the problem. You're consistent with the gym, you're trying to eat healthily, you're trying to eat well, and it's just not working because you're in the wrong vehicle. You know, you're taking the wrong advice, and that's all it boils down to. So the first thing to know is it's not your fault. Now, the problem with bulking and cutting, if you're trying to build just a lean and athletic physique, is that it never lands you on the right part of the scale, body composition. So at one end, you have super bulky, a lot of fat as well as muscle, which is like peak bulk, and you have really lean but also really skinny at the other end. And what happens is when you bulk and cut and you don't do it correctly, because heads up, you're not trying to be a bodybuilder, so you're probably not doing it right, you swing like a pendulum between these two extremes, and you're always never quite happy with the way that your body looks, right? It doesn't make any sense, because think about why you started this. You probably started this to feel more confident with your shirt off on a vacation, on a trip, for an event. For the past few months, maybe even years in your case, like it was for me, you begin to realize that you are just constantly, at least for 9 or 10 months of the year, with the exception of summer where you might have just done the cut, always just in a position where you don't particularly like how you look, right? Which for me was the whole point. That doesn't make sense to me. Because what you're doing, and what I realized, is that you just start to sacrifice the confidence that you started this journey for more confidence in your body later that's promised to you once you do enough bulks and cuts. But it never works like that. You're never content with where you're at, and then you're just trying to do more to get to that point. But it just never quite feels right. You always feel too flat after the cut, and you always feel too soft when you're trying to bulk. And for both of those reasons, you probably never see either one through. And the whole time you're like, yeah, but I just need to see this bulk through. After this cut, I'm going to look the way that I want. And you just don't ever get there. And this is the problem with following that advice. It's just not designed for what you want. But the key thing that I want you to realize is that this is not a failure on you. You're trying, you're consistent. And this is how it was for me. This is not a you failure. This is a systems failure. And then the worst part about it is that you just keep saying to yourself, just after this bulk, I'll be big enough to then do the final cut, and then I'll just maintain and keep that. or after this cut, then I'll be finally lean enough to kind of maintain that. But the point never comes. What you're trying to do is apply a framework and a method that people literally use to get as shredded and as big as possible in the shortest amount of time possible, usually with some kind of performance enhancing drugs. And you, as a normal guy who's just trying to lift in the gym to feel confident, are applying that framework to your training. It doesn't work. So what is the fix? What is the solution to this? Well, when I realized that the system I was following was completely wrong for what I wanted, the rest just seemed obvious to me. And that is this. Instead of chasing these bulks where you're trying to get big in a defined period of time, trying to put on muscle, and then keeping that muscle and then trying to remove the fat and then having some crafted body through this method, you just stop living your life through phases. Think about why you started going to the gym, because you wanted to feel confident in your body. That means feeling confident in it all the time. What I then began to do is think, well, if I can just get lean and then stay lean, slowly add to that, kind of give me the result I want, right? And then I started to look around at a lot of athletes and people that had the physique that I wanted, swimmers, fighters, and I thought, they don't bulk, they're just very fit and athletic, right? They play a sport, they're just extremely lean and they have decent muscular development, but it's not through the roof. And that's when it started to make sense to me. It's literally just about staying lean and that being your new norm, and then maybe building on that very, very slowly with some new muscle over time. That way, you always feel confident in your body because you're never feeling too fat. You're never feeling too skinny because you've tried to lose some fat too quickly. You're never feeling too bulky because you gained a load of fat. You just are lean, you stay lean, that is your permanent state. And for me now, it's been a few years of being that lean, and it's great. It feels that good. I can't even begin to describe how much better it is. So if you're someone that is actually trying to build that lean and defined physique, you found yourself stuck in this bulking and cutting cycle and you want to get out of it, then you're in the right place. You're in the right corner of the internet. This probably won't get that many views, okay? Because the guys that will see it are gonna get it, because most of the content out there is designed to keep your attention with guys that look insane, but you probably just don't want to look like that. So please start listening to guys you actually want to look like. And if you think that that's me, which I appreciate, you can subscribe below. We've also got coaching below if you're interested with me and my team. We do this all the time. We build lean and defined physiques like no one else, not bulky ones, but you're in the right corner of the internet. So follow along and let me know if there's any other videos you want to see in the comments.